Alright, feel free to let me know how the music is. Let's just get started. Trying to put music on this stream, so it's the first time doing that. Okay. Alright, we're in the arena. Let's go. Let's play some chess. Oh, we're still getting paired. Okay, we have a game against Chess Culture 2020. 1536. Let's do this. I am excited. Alright, looks like Chess Culture... Okay, he is making a move. Let's play c4. Play a normal position. And I'll quickly connect these headphones. Just connect these guys right here. We should be good. Huh. Some technical difficulties. Okay, looks like the music is back. Okay, let's go e4. We're gonna play a normal King's Indian defense. And I hope the music is working. Okay, e5. Let's push onwards. Okay, c6. This is a bit odd, but alright. So he's not really playing a King's Indian defense. We'll just bring our knight out to f3, see what happens. We can put our bishops here on e2 and e3. So he takes. Now, what do I take back with? I have the option to take back with the knight, which doesn't look so bad. I think I'll just do it. My knight comes into the center. Nice little position. Okay, so he goes knight f6. Now I'll just create a little pin. If queen a5, I can step back to d2. So no problem there. And if h6, I'm thinking about taking this. Okay, so he goes there. I'll step back. Now he has to move the queen again. Maybe he moves back. But I'm hoping that his bishop, the dark square bishop, will be bad because he has put his pawns here on d6 and e5. And that typically means that if your pawns are on dark squares, your dark square bishop will be bad. So he goes there, and I'm thinking about trading now. Just trade this and go bishop to b4. That's a consideration for sure. Okay, let's just do it. We're going to try to play against this d6 pawn. Yeah, that's our plan. Play against the d6 pawn. So I'm thinking bishop to b4 here. But maybe I should just play a simple move like this. Bishop to e2. Play against d6 later. Now I just want to castle. Maybe try to get another piece on the d file. But just want to play this simply. Take it slow. After I castle, I might also go knight e1, knight c2, knight e3. That's definitely an option. Just trying to put a piece on this d5 square. So for example, bishop to g4, I want to go knight to e1. And that's the plan. All right. So we just want to get the bishop over here. Okay, so he goes knight c6. Smart move. Now he's threatening to play for the d4 square. So I'll play h3 just because my opponent wants to go bishop g4, trade off the knight, and then establish his knight on this great square. So okay, bishop back to g7. That's a good move. Now I'm thinking about just starting to play on the queen side with b4. That could be a good idea. Is my opponent trying to play f5? I'm not sure if he really wants to do this. Not sure. Because it does weaken these light squares and such, but I mean it is a fine move. So okay, let's play for our b4. So he does go for f5. I don't really want to take that. It just seems dangerous to allow him to get all this play on this diagonal with his bishop pointing at my rook. So I'll go bishop to d3. And if he takes, I'll take back with the bishop. But it would be in the spirit of the King's Indian to just push onwards with this f4 move. So I would not be surprised to see that. And he does it. Okay, f4. Alright, now maybe I want to push forward with this. Huh. Okay, so I go here. He brings his knight back. And then maybe I put the bishop here on b4. That doesn't seem so bad. I think I'll do it. And yeah, he has this knight d4 as well if he wants to do that. It does give him doubled pawns. So if he goes knight d4, I take. He takes back with his pawn. Now he is threatening to do something like this. So I should be careful of that. Maybe I go f3 just to shore things up over there. That doesn't look so bad. I think he has a better position than I would like him to have. But I don't want to allow this f3. I can't allow him to get stuff going over here. So I'll just play f3 myself. And I'm hoping that the weaknesses that I'm creating over here aren't too much. So for example, if he can come in, that'd be good for him. But yeah, we're just hoping that we're not creating too many weaknesses. Now our opponent is going for this one right here. Bishop takes h3. So we have to do something to stop that. Probably king to h1 is reasonable. And now maybe we want to bring our bishop around to f2. This would be a good defensive technique. So queen here. Bishop back. Yeah, to e1. And bring the bishop around to f2. That way all of these squares are protected. And I'm also keeping an eye on the d4 pawn. So that's where I want my bishop to be. But my opponent has achieved a surprisingly good position. So I have to give him some credit there. Pretty good position. Yeah, so bishop takes h3. I can take back, and then he comes in here. Okay, so he goes there. I will bring the king up, protect this. He might also try bringing the rook around. That's one option for sure. Okay, bishop here. I'm not sure what the idea behind that is. But, I don't know, maybe he's going to try to move this pawn somehow. I will swing my bishop around, go with my plan. Bishop f2. And then I want to play on the queen side somehow, so maybe rook to c1 and c5. This is how I'll create counterplay. My opponent playing extremely well though, especially for a 1536 rating. I might also just go for some sort of exchange sack, like bring my bishop back, allow him to push forward with d3, then I take, he takes my rook, and I take back. So that's definitely an option, and not a bad one at all. I'm actually pretty happy to give the exchange. I think my opponent's going to go for this sort of stuff, which is a bit scary, actually. What do I do about that? Okay, so he goes g5, and he wants to play g4, okay. So now maybe I should bring my king back to g1, so that if g4 I can take. That seems quite reasonable. I don't know. I hope my opponent is playing a fair game here. 1536 really grinding me out on the king side. I can only hope my opponent is playing fair. I don't really like to make assumptions like that, but I normally don't achieve such positions against 1500s. But okay, let's see how he plays this. Maybe I want to play queen e2. Swing the queen around. Maybe rook f2. Then bring my king and run. That's definitely an option. I think rook f2, the more I look at it, the better it looks. It seems like my next move. Rook f2, and I want to just come king f1, king e2, and start running. Just get my king out of dodge. But yeah, let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. Want to interact with you guys. My opponent's certainly taking a long time here. Not sure if he's considering this bishop takes h3 move. Or what he's considering, I don't know. Shoe Factory says he's punching above his weight for sure. Oh, definitely. I'm getting grinded out here. Don't know what's even happening. This is the type of position I get against like IMs and GMs. But I guess maybe Chess Culture 2020 is a GM in disguise. Just absolutely destroying me with the black pieces in 23 moves. But I'm not lost here by any means. It's just that my position's a bit cramped. Tough to play. I want to run the king though, because if my king can get out of dodge, like if I can get away from the king side, then I have some chances. Like for example, I want to bring all my pieces to the king side and break something open over here where my opponent's king is. So that's the plan for now. Let's see how he's going to stop it. So queen h4. Queen h4 has the idea of rook to h6, but maybe I can trick him. So if I go king f1 and he goes rook h6, I go here and trap his queen. Ooh, that's nasty. I really want to get that. Come on, play rook h6. Play rook h6. Oh wait, no, he has queen h5. Ah, I was so close. I need his rook to be on h5 to make that happen. Okay. Yeah, creating the dark square weakness with f3 made things tough, says Shoe Factory. Yeah, I agree. I thought that if I didn't play f3, then he would. And if he got to play f3, then I'd be in some trouble. But there probably was a better way to treat that position. Now I think I'm getting away with murder here with running my king. And I am up a piece. So pretty happy with this position. My opponent's at about 2 minutes, so we have a really solid time advantage. Everything's going pretty well. Let me know if you guys can hear the music. I'm trying to add music to the stream, so I think that would make it better. The infamous, or not the infamous, but the famous Buzz Buzzard suggested that I should add some music, and of course I have to take him up on his suggestion. if you're just joining, we're playing the Lichess 10th anniversary arena. So apparently it's been 10 years since Lichess was first created. What many argue is the best chess site online, and we're going to try and get some wins in this arena. My opponent has this scary pass g-pawn, but I think for now we're just defending with rook g1. We're going to try and pick it up like this, queen e2, just basically not allow him to advance it. That's the strategy. Queen e2 looks good. If he goes queen h1, okay, I was thinking I go bishop f2 here. Or is there anything better than bishop f2? Maybe bishop g3? No, bishop f2 looks good. Now we are threatening to take the queen. So he has to do something about that. I think he's just going to go back. Queen h2. And then... Oh, I wonder if I have bishop f1. But he has rook g6. So I wanted to make this pin, but I don't think it's working just yet. Now, I think I should take this opportunity to get my king a bit safer. Like, bring the king over here. Unless it's safe enough where it is. Okay, so what to do? So maybe I go rook c1 with the idea of pushing c5 and breaking things open over here. Because if I can create some play over here on the queen side, I think this is going to be my side of the board. So let me go c5 and take back with the rook. And it is dangerous to be opening up the position, but I feel pretty confident about it. He goes rook c8. Now, I'm thinking about taking. He takes me. I take back. Then he takes this. Okay, that doesn't look so bad, but there's also c6, which I like. Just creating a pass pawn for myself. This guy is playing all the right moves with g4. That's interesting. I mean, it is a good position that he's found himself in. Now I think I'll swing the bishop around to d5 because it's very strong on d5. And now I'm convinced that I'm winning. I want to go king d3 and make a statement by putting my king on d4. That's a real statement. Shout out to Juan Joe Rivera. Thanks for following. Okay, king d3. This is the plan. Bishop takes d4. And now we'll allow our king to come to d4 if he wants. I'll pre-move queen to e2, and we get a resignation. Good game to Chess Culture 2020, who played extremely well. All right, we are back in the pool. We just played the first game in the Lichess 20th anniversary, or 10th anniversary arena. And this is a 12-hour arena that we're just joining, so some people have like 200 points right now, which is insane. But, you know, we're doing our best. We're sitting at 2386 here, just trying to play some instructive games for you all. Yeah, that's what it's all about, instructive chess. And I'm excited to announce that I'm a Twitch affiliate now, thanks to your guys' support. So I think the options now, like, you guys can cheer, send bits, and subscribe in order to support the channel. If I'm missing something, let me know. But yeah, so if you're enjoying it, then please do. Okay, we're playing a 1297 here, who has berserked against us. So disrespectful. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so he goes like this. Now I'll just play e6. Bring my bishop out here. Okay, a3. I'm okay with developing the bishop to this square. Just going castles. Okay. Pawn to d6. Everything looks fine. He's probably going to play bishop g2. And now I want to bring the knight into e4. This is a very common idea in these sorts of structures. So yeah, knight to e4. And normally instead of the pawn on a3, there is a pawn on c4. So let's see how this changes things. Knight d2, I'll go d5. F3. Okay, so he goes c3, I'll go c5. This is all semi-theory. It's not theory because the position is weird, but these are like the ideas that you play in the opening in this classical Dutch. You go for something like this. Okay, yeah, this is very strange. So he can go knight b3. It's definitely one of his ideas. And he wants to pick up the d4 pawn. So I think we are obliged to allow it. And after he does that, maybe bishop to c5, allow him to take. And what I'm wondering is, if bishop takes e3, do we have this queen b6 tactic? Okay, so he doesn't allow it. He goes takes, which is reasonable. So we'll take back. King h1. And now we have this very strong pawn on e3. So this is something I want to take advantage of. So in order to take advantage of this pawn, I need to support it with d4. So what I'm thinking is drop the bishop back to b6, play d4, and then use this bishop somehow to create more play. So yeah, I want to go d4. I am allowing him to do this, and although I unintentionally hung this pawn, I think it's actually completely fine. So a4, let's go a5, because we're stopping his advance, and at the same time, we're creating a square for our bishop on a6. And now he has to watch out for this stuff. I think he'll go queen to c2. Okay, queen e4. This move is strange, though, because now I get to take this pawn. And once I take the pawn, I have two connected passers, and I'll just drop the bishop back where it came to a6. And these two connected passers are going to be lethal. I can't go d3 right now because e3 will hang. So I can't do that. I should come back with the bishop, so I'll come back all the way to a6. And we just have a really great position. Queen takes. Now I'm thinking rook to c8. He does have this one check right here, but we can always sidestep king to h8. So that's not much of an issue. And I'm pretty happy with the position. So queen e6, yeah, let's come over to the side with king to h8. And now we just want to go rook e8, hit the queen, d3, d2, good game. So yeah, he goes there, let's go rook to e8. And now we have this classic structure, or not structure, but rook placement and queen placement that like they teach you as a beginner, that you'll have the best position if you put your rooks and queens like this. And so any beginner would kill to have this position. But okay, we have these really strong pawns on d3 and e3. And yeah, it's just a very tough position for my opponent. We want to go d2, e2, and Mr. Bethan 10 is really in a tough spot here. I guess he can try to create some play like this. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'll still go like e2, d2. And anytime we want to defend the diagonal, we can stick a bishop on d4 and say no counterplay for you. So yeah, good position. So he sacks his bishop for one of the pawns. Probably a good call. We'll take back with our bishop. But we still have this monster right here that we want to get to d2. And in my opinion, this bishop that he had was his only source of counterplay if he could start creating some threats on this diagonal. But I totally get that he shied away from that because these pawns were so strong. So he goes bishop to f1, trying to put more pressure here. Okay, that's fair. Now, I think... Okay, wait, d2 doesn't work. I was about to hang this piece for no reason. All right, should we go rook c5, come around like this? That looks pretty good. I'm starting to like the look of rook c5, so I'm going to do it. And just go rook to d5, protect this pawn. And then at some point push d2. So queen g4. And now I'll play rook d5. Rook d4 is coming. Bishop to b7. And I have enough defenders over here on this d3 pawn. So yeah, let's go rook to d4. And I want to come back bishop b7. Okay. So my opponent offers a draw. I am so sorry. I don't think I can take that draw. Okay, let's bring the queen up. Got to be careful not to blunder a rook with back rank mate. But I don't think we're going to do that. We are sensible enough to not allow any such thing. And yeah, feel free to let me know if the music is too soft, too loud. I'm open to these constructive criticisms. But yeah, Beethan 10 in a tough position. So he trades queens, but I still have this monster pawn right here. I'm gonna double up on the d file, swing my bishop back to h6 maybe. Okay, now is a good opportunity to reposition my bishop to this good b4 square. So I'll take this opportunity to do so. And now I just want to double up, put the bishop back to b7. Okay, so double up, put the bishop back to b7, bring my rook back, and start putting pressure on this pawn. Okay, now is a good opportunity to bring the bishop back. Okay, so he plays like this, but this is a nice little discovered check. Now, take this pawn probably. And yeah, basically the only thing left here is not allowing back rank mate. But I'm pretty sure we're not going to allow him to back rank us. Ice King Frost says, "Yo coach, what's up? Notre Dame for the win." Yeah. Hello, Ice King Frost. Notre Dame for the win indeed. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a student there. Student at Notre Dame. Okay, so he goes there. Now, I think I can start putting pressure on this pin with bishop to e4. Yeah, good to have the... Oh. I hope I muted in time for that sneeze. Okay. So we get a win there. And we get back into the arena. Let's see who we play next. I'm excited. We're on a perfect 2 out of 2. So doing pretty well so far. Yeah, maybe we can give the link to the channel. Let me close that. See if anybody who's watching the tournament is interested. Oh, whoa, I got transported to this. Okay, so we're playing a 1459. Let's berserk, because I'm feeling crazy. Okay. Let's go crazy. Let's go wild. Chess Patserus. What's up, man? Shoe Factory subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. Huge shout out to Shoe Factory. And Chess Patserus. Yeah, I do look different, and that's because my younger brother gave me a haircut. So that is what it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's go bishop e3. We want to castle queen side and start wrecking him on the king side. f4. That's the plan. Just blow open the king side and start doing some crazy stuff. All right, let's go king b1. Step to the side, guard this a2 pawn. And yeah, we just want to go f4. Start blowing things open. And we are berserking because we're wild. Shoe Factory says, no problem, this is the right commentary for my level. Awesome, glad to hear it. So yeah, our opponent has extended these pawns on the king side, so we're going to try and punish him. But oh yeah, we're going to try and open up the king side like this. Now, he's creating some serious weaknesses on these light squares. I don't like this move f6. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that by playing my bishop to d3 and going e5 so that I can sneak into these light squares with bishop to g6. Okay, so knight e7, and I need to figure out how to blow open the position here. I'm thinking bishop to c4, just create a straightforward threat against this pawn. And if he goes d5, I can step back maybe here. And now I've provoked him to push this pawn. It'll be easier for me to play something like pawn to e5 now. So he goes b5. He's really going for it. And I'm going to try and break things open as well. b4, okay. Our friend is playing some dynamic chess here. Geo 1952. Ice King Frost says, I played someone 2200-ish rating for 50 games and could not get a single game. Oh, man. Okay, so I have a funny story to tell you guys. So I attended this camp, this chess camp, at which Daniel Naroditsky was coaching, and there was a party afterwards, and so Daniel Naroditsky and I were playing these games in which I had 3 minutes and he had 30 seconds. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get at least a few of these games. And I kid you not, playing like 30 seconds against my 3 minutes. And like, I'm playing well. Like, I'm not like screwing around or anything. I'm like doing my absolute best. And we play like 20 games and I win 1 and he wins like 19. So absolutely ridiculous. This guy's an animal. So I know how you feel when you're playing someone who's just like that much better than you. Sometimes you drop a ton of games. So I should probably comment on this position a bit. I got carried away talking about Naroditsky. Basically, by pushing my pawns, I was able to create enough weaknesses in his pawn structure that I was able to win a pawn, and now I win another pawn. And everything on his king side is falling apart, so I take his knight too. Yeah, Danya is sick for sure. Oh, he's such an animal. Actually, that camp was super fun because it was a ton of YouTubers. It was, and like streamers. It was Daniel Naroditsky was coaching. John Bartholomew too. Eric Hansen was coaching. Ice King Frost asking how is he so much better? Can you elaborate? Danya's just a tactical animal. I don't know how else to describe it. He just sees everything, and he's so fast too. But okay, we get this position where my opponent is in some serious trouble. We can give him this check, and his king just has nowhere to go. So we're just gonna try and mate him in the middle of the board. If he comes to the d file, we have this check right here with the rook. And now we're picking up the knight as well. So pretty happy about how this game is going so far. He has to move, and then we take this knight. Chesspatzer US says, Dave, are you analyzing games? Like analyzing my games that I'm playing in this arena? Or are you talking about the game analysis thing that I do for YouTube, the subscriber game analysis? Let me know if that's a subtle hint to start analyzing these games more and stop talking about how Danya adopted me. Then I will take the hint and and I will focus more on the analysis. Right now, we're basically just wrapping up the game, taking all his pieces. So not too much to say about this. Oh, you're asking about you're asking if I could analyze your games. So yeah, maybe after this I could try do that, or I could try do I'll actually do a separate stream for that. I'll do like a game analysis thing for you all, and yeah, I think that would make a good separate stream. So I'll keep that in mind for sure. Yeah, here we're up a ton of pieces. I did berserk, so we'll be a little bit careful, but yeah, the mating net I'm trying to set up here is knight c5 check. So yeah, knight c5 check, the king comes up, and then I'll go knight to d4, and knight b3 is mate. And queen takes a7 is also mate threat, so yeah, knight b3, really sick knight mate. I hope you guys like this one. King stuck on a5, pretty cute mate in my opinion. I'll just let this sit for a couple seconds. Alright, let's go back to the tournament. Why is Lichess slighting me by not saying that I'm streaming? It just says that these two guys are streaming. Okay. So we're playing this 1286. Let's berserk again and see what we can do. All right, where are you, Bura Kaden 14? Show yourself. E4. Now what should we do? Let's play the Caro Kann. I almost pushed it to c5, but I love this opening so much that I can't do anything except play the Caro Kann. I'm sorry. Okay, knight c3. Now I'm going to play the tricky a6 variation. I love playing this a6 stuff because most of my opponents don't know what to do. And then I'm very comfortable in this position where I get the pin against the knight. And the idea is to transpose this into a French defense where where my bishop has come out of the pawn chain. So you'll see in a couple moves that, yeah, it's starting to look a lot like a French. This is like the advanced French pawn structure, but my bishop is outside of the chain. So usually the French bishop is the worst piece in the game, but now my French bishop is actually able to trade off any time. And importantly, his knight is on c3, so he can't play pawn to c3 to strengthen this pawn chain. So yeah, he is not able to get a strong pawn chain here. Now I want to just take and snag this pawn. So I imagine he'll take my pawn on c5 now. I'll take back. And then I will develop the knight this way to g6. So, good position. Yeah. Okay. So my opponent taking a little while here. I think he does have to take this pawn on c5. I don't see many other options for him. Yeah, so he does do it. Maybe he's watching. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty much the only move in the position. So we'll take back, and now we just want to develop this way, which puts more pressure on the e5 pawn. This is basically what we're playing against, the e5 pawn. So he goes h3. Now, I can choose to keep my bishop, which I might temporarily do just to see if he'll go g4, because g4 is a very weakening move. And if he chooses to do it, then he's going to have a hard time castling kingside, just because g4 weakens so many squares next to his king. So he does go g4, and now I like my bishop here on g6. I could be threatening knight b4 in certain positions, going against this c2 pawn. Okay, so he plays like this. And now I want to go h5, just try to break open the king side. I know he can play g5, but if he goes g5, I get this juicy f5 square for my pieces. For example, knight e7, and I get to come into f5 like this. So pretty nice position. Okay, so he goes knight g5. Now, I think I can get away with taking here. And if he takes back with the pawn... Okay, he takes back with the bishop. He might be threatening to do something over here, but at the moment, I'm not convinced, so I'll go knight to e7. Maybe he wants to take, and then he's forking all of these guys, the queen, the pawn, and the bishop. But I could have defended with queen to b6. Okay, so he plays like this. Now, I want to put something on f5, whether it's the bishop or the knight. Maybe bishop f5, although I'm not sure. Knight f5 also good. Okay, let's just go knight f5. Now my threat is knight takes e5, bishop takes, and queen takes on g5. This is what we want to do. So yeah, if he goes b4, he's extending these pawns quite a bit. And actually, I think we might even be able to go bishop d4 there, forking this and this. I have to be slightly careful about my king being in the center. Actually, a pretty strange idea in these positions is to just go king f8. Idea being you step out of dodge. Okay, so he goes queen d2. He's guarding this, so I can no longer play knight takes e5 because the queen now defends the g5 knight. What I can do is try to go like knight d4 and make something happen over here. Although that might be a tad unrealistic as well. Okay, so I'm thinking I'll start with bishop a7. Basically get my bishop out of this position where it's vulnerable to any attacks. And then I might go king to f8, knight d4, and just start playing against this opened king side. I want to get a knight to f3. That's my plan. If I can get a knight to f3, I'm winning the queen. So let's try to get a knight into that square. And feel free to let me know at any time, guys. If there's some issue with the stream, I'll try to address it. But I'm hoping that there's not any problem. Okay. Yeah, my opponent playing well for his rating. I do need to get a knight into here, though, if I want to try to win. What other plans do I have? I can go rook to c8. Just put my rook on the open c file. But, I mean, I don't know if king f8 is necessary here. It is an idea in the future. Okay, bishop e3. Oh, but now I take. And then okay, yeah, so I take this bishop, and then I take the knight on g5. I think this is what was missed. That I end up getting the knight because the queen no longer defends the knight. So I'm able to pick it up. And now bishop takes e3 is a monster threat. Rook takes h3 is a threat because there's this pin on the king. So really good position. We get the e5 pawn too. Totally crushing. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of knight takes d5 attempt. Just trying to break everything open. Okay, but now I get bishop takes e3. Bishops like these long diagonals, and I'm able to take advantage of this. So takes, I'll take back. And if anyone has enough channel points, which I'm not sure if anyone does, then it is possible to... I guess I just learned about this the other day, but it's possible to cash in those channel points on certain things. And I forgot to change the criteria for the king run. I've got to make that way more channel points. So I'll have to do that. But for now, if you guys cash that in, I'll honor it. But yeah, okay, so rook to f2. Now I can play with him here a little bit. I'll take this. And now there are pins on pins on pins. So many pins. This is pinned. This is pinned. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have messed with him there, but alright. We'll take the queen. This bishop is still pinned. We can take the e5 pawn, and according to the Lichess point counter, we're up 11 points, which is enough. Burakaden 14, though, played very well for his rating. I think he just made some critical weaknesses on the king side by pushing his g-pawn. So I wouldn't have done that if I were him. But other than that, he played very well. Okay, king goes over. Now I'll trade. I want to keep my bishop. My bishop is absolutely monstrous. Buzz Buzzard redeemed king run. Oh, man. Okay, so we get a resignation. I'm going to try and do the king run in some sort of like casual game after the arena. But if I play someone lower rated enough in the arena, I might just do the king run now. But if I play someone like very highly rated, it will be very difficult. But yeah, let's make this king run happen. Maybe I should pause the tournament and come back. Okay, we're playing a 1684. Let's go. Okay, let's go here. Okay. Okay, so let's go h3. That way I can create a safe space for my king over here. Let's do this. If my king can get safe on h2, I'm okay. I'm slightly worried about this, but I can go g3, bring the king back this way. So I think I'm all good here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will be okay. Okay, so he goes there. I'll swing the king over to g3, come back to h2, like this. Okay, so good position. Fantastic position, actually. The best position I've had all day. Running the king is the only way to go. Okay, it looks like one of the computers I'm using might be about to run out of charge. So while my opponent thinks about my wonderful opening, I might have to try and plug this in. Okay, let's bring the king back to h2. Okay, let me see what I can do about this. Okay. Has my opponent moved? He has. What do I do now? Knight to e2. Bring the knight like this. Okay. Gotta plug this in. Okay. So we've got our knight on e2. Our king is safe on h2. And yeah, it's all good. Good position. Shout out to Nikos Dallas and Royal Solo underscore TV for following. Okay. We'll go d3. We can take this knight. Let's just step back to analyze what happened. So yeah, this beautiful maneuver. It's called artificial castling. Remember that. Artificial castling, very important. So our king is very safe on h2 now, and we can start pressing for a win. I'm going to try and take his knight to disrupt the pawn structure, bring my other knight to e2, and then I have possibilities of knight to f4, or maybe even f4, f5. So I actually don't mind this position. Nikosa Dallas says, hey man, hello. h6. Now, can I go f4, or is that too risky? I want to go f4. So I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm taking a bit of a risk here. Just given that the king is on h2, but, you know, you got to take risks if you want to win. And I want to win. So he takes... Oh, but I get the knight. Oh, man. My opponent... I don't think my opponent saw that. That if he takes the pawn no longer protects his knight. I think I just shocked him so much in the opening. I don't think he's prepared for this. Buzz Buzzard says the music might be a little too quiet. Let me turn that up. Okay, he sacks the bishop. Okay, Buzz Buzzard. Let me know how this is. I just turned it up. Yeah, just continue. Feel free to continue giving me feedback. I'll keep like adjusting the volume based on what you guys say. I just turned it up. So okay, he castles queenside, and now I'm up 2 pieces. So I'll put a knight on f5, I think. I ideally want to get something going on this diagonal because his queen and king are lined up, but I don't think that's possible right now. So I'll play knight to f5, because if I had played h4, he would have knight to g4 check. Okay, much better. Awesome. Let me know if I need to adjust it a little bit more. Happy to do so. Okay, he goes g5. He's trying to create some sort of attack. Now let me play bishop to g2 with the idea that my knight isn't moving from f5, so there's no point in trading it for this guy. This bishop doesn't do anything, whereas my knight is a monster. They actually say, it's a common phrase in the chess community, like knife f5. Jack Urakawa, welcome, man. Saying good music selection. Yeah, actually, Buzz Buzzard recommended that I look into putting music on the stream. So, yeah, I found this this playlist, and it's been good. Okay, so now I'm attacking his knight, and oh whoa, g4. So I have a couple options here. One option is I take the bishop with check, and then I take the knight, and that just wins a piece. So I may just do that. I can also take this pawn back, and then his knight moves somewhere. Okay, let me just take this bishop with check. Simple enough. And you know, we're all about that simple chess. So we'll take the knight, and now we're up 3 pieces. And it's all because of the opening. I can't stress that enough. If you play this opening, you're guaranteed to be up 3 pieces. I want to make sure that I've emphasized that enough. Okay, so he throws his pawns at me, but I can take. And maybe my king's going for another jog. Who knows? But he should probably try to avoid the queen trade. Alright, I'll step back. He should avoid this, queen d7. And I can try to insist by going rook to f1 and queen f5. Trying to force matters. Okay, queen c5. Maybe he wants to come into here, queen f2. So I'm going to disallow that by going rook f1. My queen protects the square anyways, so maybe I'm just high. Okay, so d4. Now I want to bring my knight in. I am losing this pawn right here, but I'm pretty sure that's okay. Yeah, I think I'm okay with gambiting the pawn. I don't have much of a choice though either. Is there anything else I can do? So I can check. King moves, and then I come here, threatening a mate. That's one thing. So, alright, let me check. See where he goes. So, Assyrian says, yo, Dubstream man, always cool to see an NM, TBH. If you want an invite to the Chess Wagers Discord, we'll give you streamer rank as well as expert. It's just a place to play casually against others and learn, but also to play for money. I've never heard of that. That seems pretty interesting. Thanks for letting me know. Oh wait, I think he has rook takes g2, and he can get 2 pieces for the rook. So takes, and then he takes the knight. But if he takes the knight first, I can give him mate. So he goes c6. I'll bring the knight into e4. Okay, so he scoops up this pawn. I can go bishop to f4, creating some threats of e6 with this bishop on this great diagonal. Yeah, Assyrian, you could send me the link. I don't usually play chess for money. I don't usually wager. But you could send me the link anyways. I could think about it. Yeah. For this position, I am allowing him to take these queenside pawns. Totally okay with him doing this, since it opens these files against his king. So if queen takes b2, I can go rook b1. Okay, so he goes there. I'm gonna try and tempt him into taking some of these pawns though. So I'll go rook here. I'll try to get him to take this, and now rook b1. And I have a very strong attack over here. Oh, cool. Yeah, Assyrian, I would love to get my name out there as a streamer. Okay, so queen takes on a2, and now there's got to be something just earth-shattering here. I can feel it. Knight c5 is definitely a start, attacking this pawn. If he goes b6, e6, ooh. This is nice. I'm very happy with this. I think he's going to end up having to take this at some point. Rook takes g2. But yeah, b6, I play this e6 check. He has to move here, and then queen takes c6. Okay, so he goes there, stepping out of the e6 discoveries. Fair enough. So now I want to take this pawn. I'll take with the knight so that my knight can come back to this d6 square. And I'm also threatening to gang up on the c6 pawn. Maybe my opponent will go rook to g8. Okay, so he sacrifices now. I'll take back. And he's just going to be down a little bit too much here. Okay, takes. Now I'm up a rook in 2 pieces. He goes there, but there's this e6. And then I can take this guy. Or actually, I shouldn't pre-move because e7's also in the position. So we get a resignation. Good game. Yeah, such a good opening, you know. I don't know what to say. You know, sometimes the opening is just too strong. You catch your opponent off guard. Let's play e4 again. I'm not much of an e4 player, but we can go for it. So my opponent plays b6, bishop b7. Interesting. Not even sure what to do against this. Maybe I'll just go g3, put my bishop on g2, and pretend I'm playing d4. That's how I play e4 most of the time. I just pretend I'm playing d4. Okay, we'll bring the knight here. Castle. I'm not too concerned about b4. I feel he might be overextending his queenside if he goes b4. Okay, so c5 is played. And now is a good opportunity to play d4. And we're basically transposing to a Sicilian, except my opponent goes c4. Very, very strange move. I want to go b3, break stuff up, and try to punish his overextension on the queen side. So he goes queen to c7. Okay, now what do I do? Do I go a4, try to chip away at this some more? Or maybe I go here. Okay, let's go bishop f4. If bishop d6, I'll take, and go e5. With the idea of clamping down on the dark squares. Knight e4, knight d6. So let's try this out. If he goes d6, let me think. What do I want to do? Okay, so he does go d6. Now, if d5, yeah, d5 doesn't look so bad. I'll go d5. If he allows me to take, I'm happy to weaken the squares next to his king. And if he goes e5, I'm happy to step back, bishop e3, and play for f4. So now I have a target. Luckily, this knight on e2 defends this knight on c3, so I don't have to worry about anything over here. He takes my pawn. I'll take with the a pawn. So more than just taking towards the center, what this move does is opens the a file. And this is a file that I really want to be open, just because I could have some tactics in the future with knight takes b5. Here after knight f6, I'm going to go h3 though, because the idea is just push the pawn to f4 and not allow knight to g4. My dark square bishop is an incredibly strong piece, so I want to try and avoid any knight g4 stuff. Okay, he goes knight d7. He's playing really well because he wants to put a piece here. Now I'm thinking of just going for f4, start breaking things open. Shoe Factory says got to go. Good luck. Thank you so much, and great to have you, Shoe Factory, and thanks for subscribing. Huge shout out to Shoe Factory. Okay, so we have f4 in. If he takes, I want to take back with the pawn. He goes b4. Now I get the feeling that he's overextending. All these moves on the queen side just scream overextension to me, just because now my knight comes into this good square, and I'm happy to be on a4 where I have an eye on b6 and c5. Okay, so a5 is a good move, just basically trying to put the bishop on this diagonal. And I'm strongly considering c4 because, oh man, I mouse slipped. Okay, it's okay. c3 is luckily almost the same as c4. Yeah, he takes anyways, which would have been the same as en passant. So luckily not a bad mouse slip. But the idea is open the c file. I want to open up the c file. So now I want to go rook to c1, knight to b5, and switch my focus from the king side to the queen side. Maybe I'll also insert this king to h1 or king h2 move, just to step out of dodge there, just in case there's anything on this diagonal in the future. So he goes bishop to a6, and I'm tempted to sack the exchange, although I know it's not logical. So let me play a more logical move. Maybe rook f2. I was going to go rook e1, but rook f2 allows me to double quickly on the c file if I need to. So anytime I need to go like rook c1, rook c2, I can do it very easily. This b3 pawn is a potential weakness, so I can see my opponent trying to take advantage of it, but it's not so easy to take advantage of. If he ever takes, which he might be getting tempted to do, I'll still take back with the pawn. Yeah, I'll take back with the pawn. So he goes g6. And now I'll bring the rook to the c file, threatening some discoveries. He's definitely going to move the queen. After which, okay, so he doesn't move the queen. But now can I go knight b5? Just attacking the queen twice. And what does he do? Because I also have knight to c7 now. So he is in a bit of trouble. Yeah. This knight c7 move, oh, so he sacks. But I can insert this intermediately. Yeah, so let me take this pawn, and then I'll take the queen. Unless there's, yeah, let's take the pawn, take the queen. All right, now his king is in a really, really dangerous position. So I think the best way to take advantage of it is to not allow him back to e7. So I want to do some check on this diagonal. So I'm debating either bishop to c5 or queen a3. One of these two moves has to be correct. I think queen a3. He moves over here, and then I use the rook on f2 to give a check on c2. Rook c2 check. He can come back, and then I can bring the queen even further into the position. Queen to d6 is what I'm thinking. Or maybe I take this. And if he takes back with the knight, now I bring the queen in with a check. So yeah, I like this way of doing things. Take the pawn, come in with check. So he sacks his knight. I am obliged to take. And what does he want? Does he want to take this pawn with the bishop? Okay. Now, I'm going to try and trade. Maybe I should trade the bishops. Or maybe I go knight to b6. And this is a fork. If he takes my knight, I can take back with the check. He shifts over, and I have to land some sort of check on this diagonal. Okay, he goes there. What to do? Maybe I just play the simple king g2, protecting the g3 pawn. And then try to come into c6 with the rook. So he goes there. I'll step back. And now I just want to go rook to c6. If he goes rook c8. So good position. Okay. Bishop d3. Now, can I throw in this check? Queen a4 check. Maybe bring the rook around. Rook c6, rook e6. All looks pretty good. Okay. Come around. And now I'm threatening to fork his king and his bishop. So he should probably move his bishop, but I play rook to e6 anyways. Yeah, against rook c8, I get to play this rook to e6 move. Picking up the rook. Or, sorry, picking up the bishop. This I go queen to d7 though, giving another check. Okay, I just got to make sure I'm not blundering any perpetual with rook to c2 check, but I'm pretty sure I'm not because I have bishop to f2. If he gives a check, I'll drop the bishop back to f2, and he doesn't have anything, any sort of like knight or dark square bishop, so he's not able to attack this guy. Okay, now I will trade the rooks. Rook to e8. Just eliminate any sort of counterplay and push my passed pawn. Like Yasser Serwan says, push him, baby. You just gotta push him. Okay, let's keep pushing. And, okay, I mean, let's give this check first. And then promote. And now we're just up too much. But good game to Magic Shah. He played well. We got a resignation. Yeah, good game to Magic Shah. Let's see who's next. Okay, we're playing Cesar Auguste 42. And we have the black pieces. I feel like we've gotten a few whites in a row. So nice to just have the black pieces. Let's go for the Grunfeld or the King's Indian. I'll decide in the moment which one. If he goes knight c3, I'll probably go for a Grunfeld. Okay, let's play the Grunfeld. See what our friend has in store for us. I actually don't remember much of my Grunfeld theory, so I'm just gonna hope that my opponent also doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, he goes there. I'm pretty sure that this bishop g7 is playable, but there's also knight e4. So I'll go knight e4. I've had a game like this at the Reno Open with this knight e4. Although I'm pretty sure knight f3 had already been played. e3, ooh, I wonder if we can trick him. Okay, so now we want to go queen a5. Oh, let's go, we get it. So now queen a5 forks the king and the bishop. So nasty. So nasty. Oh, man. I'm way happier about that than I should be. Man, oh, man. And that's just a piece on move, like, move 7. Let's go. The Grunfeld giving us that quick win. Quick piece win. Alright, we'll just castle. Maybe rook d8. You know, they say the hardest game to win is a 1 game. But I have a feeling that this one isn't going to be too tough. Yeah, I just want to bring the queen back. Maybe play for e5. Maybe bring the knight to this f6 square. And it's looking pretty simple. So I can't complain. So yeah, that's one piece of advice I have for everyone. Play the Grunfeld and you'll win in 7 moves. So now we'll bring the knight to this f6 square. Drop the queen back to c7 probably. Play e5. Bishop g4. All the good stuff. But this knight is probably best on f6, replacing its brother, who moved there on move 1. And yeah, we just want to unravel our pieces. Our opponent is having a tough time playing e4 due to the weakness of the d4 pawn. So anytime he plays e4, he is playing with some serious fire here. So he goes g4. I'll go here. Not sure if my opponent realizes that he can't go g5 because my queen defends. Okay, he seems to have realized. Now, I want to go here, just break things open. Just go queen to g5. If he takes my pawn, I'll take back with the queen. And he's pretty much obliged to do the queen trade, because otherwise his king side is going to be way too open. I'm targeting this h3 pawn. And yeah, already this g4 move isn't very good because he's opening up his king side. So, I mean, I am allowing him to trade the queens off if takes and here. But it looks like he's not interested in that. He wants to play for more, which is fair. But now I want to take and queen g5. And the problem is I think my opponent's having some trouble defending. Okay, so he takes back. Wait, I can just take this too. So do I take with the knight or the bishop? Let's take with the knight. Swing the queen over. And just play simple chess. I'm thinking maybe knight to h6. That way I can come to f5. Okay, let's do it. Knight to h6. Knight f5. And now all our pieces have found really good squares. So can't complain. King to g2. Alright, let's put our knight here. If queen g5, I have bishop h6 or f6. I think bishop h6. And I think my opponent's going to go for queen to h2 with the idea of rook h1 and trying to get something going here. Although he doesn't even have a mate. Alright, he chooses this way. Now e5 is tempting. e5 is very tempting. I think I'm just going to play e5. Now I get to destroy his center, which was pretty much the only thing that he had going for him. And if he doesn't do anything, I take on d4. The problem is this sort of move doesn't work because my rook is defended. So all good things. All good things. Shout out to 80 Stemplum who just followed. Welcome 80 Stemplum. Alright, so we're just playing this Grunfeld position in which we've got really awesome play. Our opponent is trying to checkmate us, but there is no mate. So we're going to keep eating all his stuff. If he checks, we'll just go king to f8. So yeah, there's usually when you see this fianchettoed bishop, there's not going to be a mate. I mean, that's a bit of a generalization, but it is generally true that there aren't these sorts of mating ideas against the fianchettoed bishop. So that's why I feel pretty safe here. I'm up 2 pieces. 7 points according to the Lichess counter. Alright, he takes back like this. 2. What do I do now? Bishop e6 maybe? Just getting the bishop out. That seems pretty good. Maybe I want to try and run my king over to the queen side at some point. Just get it a bit more safe. What else? What's our winning strategy? Maybe centralize the queen. Queen would be good on e5. So he goes e4, and my king still isn't feeling like it's in any danger. I think I might go knight h6 and encourage him to sack, because now I have the queen to g5 trick, picking up his rook. So he falls for it. Queen g5. This is the second time my queen has come to g5, winning material. So this queen g5 move, I've learned, is an instant victory. But yeah, I mean, he has to move his king, and then I take the rook. And not only am I winning something, but I'm also forcing a queen trade. Okay, we get a resignation. Good game. And we're back into the pool. And wow, look at this beautiful performance so far. And all of these wins have netted us 1 rating point. We started at 2386, and we've won 7 games, and we've only gotten 1 rating point. That is cruel. But I guess Lichess is being fair. I have played a lot of significantly lower rated players, so it's all good. Now we play an 1827, so it seems like we're playing a higher rated opponent every game. Let's go for the Caro-Kann, my favorite opening. d4, and we'll play d5. I'm curious to see what my opponent does. Let's find out. Lots of moves here. Knight c3. So he goes for the exchange variation, which I am a fan of, with the black pieces. He might play the Panov with c4, or he might just play a normal exchange with... Okay, he goes c3. I'll bring my knight out to c6. And one of the ideas here is to play this like a reverse Queen's Gambit declined. So I was actually just talking about this the other day with a student, how the Caro-Kann is basically, in the exchange variation, it's basically like an exchange Queen's Gambit declined. So if any of you play d4, it's like this d4, d5, c4, e6. Okay, now we'll go here. I'm okay with trading off the bishops. And I've had a lot of success in these positions, just trading all the material and going for a minority attack. A minority attack is when you play against these queenside pawns by pushing your pawns over here. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm offering a bishop trade. My opponent might decline. There are a couple of ways to decline. He can go here, or he can go bishop g5. Okay, he takes the bishop. I'll take back. Now knight e5 is no longer an option. And my basic plan is castles, rook b8, b5, b4. That's what I want to get in. So he goes queen there, and I'm okay with allowing him to take the b7 pawn. I'm pretty sure it's poisoned, but if it's not, he'll show us. Okay, so he castles. And now I'll go rook to b8 with the idea of starting the minority attack. Yeah, wait, did my thing pause? Okay. Every once in a while, I just have to check on the music. Okay, bishop to d3 is played. Now, I feel comfortable playing this b5 move. The idea is just break through with pawn to b4. And that's our plan. Just want to go b5, b4. So I think a3, he might go for a3, and I actually don't know if I can go a5 there, because now he can take the pawn. Okay, so he goes a3. If he takes the pawn now, I have a6, winning the bishop. But if I go a5, then I no longer have a6, and he might be able to take like this. So, okay, I won't do that right away. I'll just swing the other rook over to c8 and try to plant a knight on this beautiful square, c4. And I'm relatively happy with the position. I have bishop g6 trading bishops, and it's just equal, you know. It's just an equal position. And equal positions are the ones in which we have to prove ourselves. So he plays rook to e1. Now I'll drop the bishop back to g6, offer this trade. I think it does favor me to trade off the light square bishops because his light square bishop is really good on d3, has two strong diagonals, hitting this b5 pawn. So he takes, and I'd imagine he wants to do this, which he does. Okay, that's fair. Now I want to reroute this knight elsewhere, so I'll go knight to d7, bring it over to the queen side. If he wants to trade, he is more than welcome to. I also want to start pushing over here. So a couple different ideas. Yeah, I'd imagine maybe he goes f4. This is definitely possible. And then I have to think of a new strategy. But I'd still want to get in this minority attack. So I want to play this a5, b4. My opponent offers me a draw. I feel like there's a lot of game left to be played though. Unless he thinks I made some sort of mouse slip, but I don't think I did. Yeah, offering a draw. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can accept this draw offer. He takes my knight, I'll take back. Yeah, I think there's still a lot to play for here, so we're going to keep playing. Now, I can still go through with my plan, a5, b4. I think my opponent might try to land another piece over here, and at that point, it's my choice whether I want to stop it by going f6. F6 is an incredibly committal move, though, so it's not something that I want to resort to immediately. Alright, let's go a5, playing for b4. And if my opponent plays b4 himself, he is significantly weakening this c3 pawn. So I'm not sure if he wants to do that. Yeah, basically the idea of meeting a5 with b4 is that he's hoping to snake his knight around to the c5 square quickly, which he might even try to do now. But I feel like I have sufficient play. He does it, okay. And now I'm going to hope that I have enough play just by going b4. I don't really have any other idea in the position yet, so I have to follow through on my minority attack. Okay, knight c5. I can't go queen c7 because there's this knight a6 trick, so I will drop my queen back to d8, where there are no tricks at the present moment. And yeah, just trying to play on the queen side here. So if my opponent trades everything, okay, I'll take back. And I'm hoping I can take advantage of these squares. If he goes here, what do I do? I'll have to think about that. So I can't go here. I can't go here because he takes, and knight here at the end, forking these two guys. So I can't do that. But I'll have to come up with something else. Rook here, queen moves. It's starting to look slightly sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. But I still think I'm relatively okay. I do want to contest the file. So if I get a chance to, I'll take my opponent up on that. Maybe here I also have this, but he can bring the queen over to a1, and he has a lot of pieces over here on the queen side. So okay, let's just see. Queen to d3 played. Okay, now I did say that if I was given a chance, I wanted to contest the file. I may do so after this little exchange takes, and then I'll contest the file. So rook to a8, and my opponent playing some very good chess. I'm gonna have to pull out some tricks to get a win here. All right, let's contest the file yet again. Keep contesting the file, and I want to get a knight into the c4 square. This is the ideal square for my knight, and if I can get it there, then I have a lot better chances to win. But basically, it's a battle of my knight on c4 against my opponent's knight on c5. Okay, so he goes there. He's trying to do some doubling, maybe. Okay. Let me just go knight to a5. If he goes rook to b2, I guess I have to allow it. Takes knight to c4. At least I get a tempo there. So that's part of my plan. Just try to get a tempo. And yeah, I just want to grind him out here. Okay, so I want to go like this, and the thing is, like, the reason that I think black can claim a slight advantage here is that we don't have a backwards pawn, really. So this c pawn is backwards, it can't come to c4, whereas we don't have any horrible pawns like that. I guess we have these doubled pawns, and this e pawn might be slightly difficult to advance, but it is advanceable. It can go to e5 at some point. So that's why we can claim a slight edge. My opponent also is running very low on time. So I want to capitalize on this. Rook to a2 played. Now I want to bring my knight into c4. I don't see any immediate problems with this. I think my opponent is going to take my rook on a8. I'll take back. Okay, that's what happens. Take back. Now, this may be in the position, although I'm not convinced. Maybe I go queen d6 and threaten a back rank mate. But I want to play against this c-pawn right here. And luckily, I don't have to deal with these back rank issues because I took with the h-pawn earlier, meaning my king has the h7 square in all positions. Rook a2 is a good move to get in if I'm allowed to. But more importantly, I'm up 5 minutes on the clock. So that's pretty huge. That time advantage could be the decisive factor in the game. Okay, so he goes rook to b7. He may be trying to put pressure over here. So what I'm going to try and do is maybe I'll check and bring the queen out to f6. My opponent offering another draw, but I'm afraid I'm still not interested. Okay, so I'll give this check. And I'll try to bring the queen to... Oh, he goes there, okay. Now I'll drop the rook back to a2, where it's pretty strong. They call it a pig on the 7th. And pretty fitting name because it's ready to eat up everything. And I want to bring my queen to f6 just to put more pressure. The queen on a5 could also be good, hitting this c3 pawn. Okay, let's go here, queen f6. And now the idea is if knight to d3, I have rook to d2, winning a piece. So let's see if he falls for this. I'm not sure he will, but it's worth a try. And if he goes queen to f1, I have knight to d2, forking the queen and the rook. So he goes knight d3, and I'm pretty sure I have this rook d2 move, forking these two guys. And there's no defense, I believe. Or there might be actually, there's this, and queen b1. That's the one defense, but queen f5 picks up the knight there. If we get on the board, I'll show you guys. Okay, he plays like this. Actually, I didn't see this. This is a good way to defend. Did not see it. Queen f5, I'll play this anyways. I'm expecting him to move his knight, and I'll just get my king out of dodge. I don't want to allow any checks, so I'm just going to play king to h7. Now I'm threatening rook takes f2, queen takes f2, queen takes b1. But even if I get that, I'm not sure I want to go for it because it does trade some stuff, and I don't know how much I want to trade. So he goes rook b4, and I definitely feel like I'm commanding the position. So can I play like this? Queen c2, with the idea of coming down rook d1. I think he might have to go rook b1 back, but rook b3 I play rook d1, and I pick up the queen. So that's a nice win. Happy to get that one. Good game to Ibuprofeno. Maybe that's that username's a joke on ibuprofen, the Advil drug. But okay, let's jump back into the arena. We're on a perfect score so far, and we've jumped up from 5,000th place to 690th. So that's something to be proud of. Definitely happy about that. Ice King Frosting, damn, he missed that. Yeah, he did, but that was a very tough position for our friend there, anyways. So I think he just caved after a little while. Ice King Frosting, yo Dave, I just beat Stockfish on level 5. Awesome, good job. Beating Stockfish can be hard, especially because Stockfish can sometimes play really well, and then just like if you're playing level 1, sometimes it'll just play incredibly good moves, and then all of a sudden it'll just randomly blunder its queen. But level 5 is pretty tough, so good job on that. Okay, my opponent plays knight to f6, and I will play f4. We're playing a Vienna Gambit. The Vienna Gambit's a pretty strong opening. You're basically giving up the f-pawn in order to have greater control of the center. I have to admit, it's been a really long time since I studied this opening, so I'm not very sharp on all the lines. But we'll see what we can do. I want to put my bishop on c4 tentatively. I don't like what he's doing with this h6 stuff. He might be trying to take, but g5? What is going on here? I'm so confused. What is going on? I don't know. I feel like I can take that. Like, I can take everything. Okay, wait, let me take the e-pawn. And then if he takes, I'll take back with my knight. And I'm hitting f7 here. I don't think queen d4 wins, because I do get f7. So, good position. Thank you, Bobby. Okay, bishop e6, let's just take that. And let's go d4. So we're totally dominating already. We're up a pawn, and our opponent's king is incredibly unsafe. So he goes there. I'm thinking about knight to g6, but after rook g8, I don't think I have a really stellar follow-up. I can snag the bishop, but I'm not sure if that gives me all I want. Okay, I'm actually just going to do it, because if I take the bishop, that means it'll be easier for me to take control of the dark squares. So, for example, if I get to take the bishop, then in the future I can play for e5, knight e4, and try to come into these dark squares. And my opponent can no longer castle kingside, which I don't think he wanted to do anyways. Jack Urakawa says, is playing against Stockfish / Leela a good way to improve, or should you use it more as a way to see how much you've improved? That's a really good question. I would say playing against Stockfish is not the best way to improve, just because Stockfish doesn't play like a human. So like I was saying, it doesn't make human errors. Sometimes you'll be playing against level 2 and it'll be playing just as well as you. And then it just randomly makes some mistake. So yeah, I don't think it gives you a great way to see, you know, how well you can play. Okay, my opponent plays queen e7, And I'm thinking, is there some way to disincentivize him from castling? I want to play this queen f3 move, but he does have rook f7. Oh, but I see something cool, actually. So queen f3, and if he goes rook to f7, if he goes rook f7, I can wait a move, I think, bishop d2. Okay, wait, that didn't happen, so now I want to come into h5. But my idea all along, even in the rook f7 line, was to force the knight away and then bring the queen to h5. And if the queen can get to h5, I'm doing really well. After knight d5, though, I can also take this. So which one do I want? Do I want queen h5, disrupting his castling, or do I want to just take a pawn? That's the dilemma here. Okay. Let me go queen h5 check. And actually, I see a pretty cool tactic. So if he goes rook f7, I think I can go knight takes d5, e takes d5, and e6. Or wait, no. Rook f7, knight takes d5, e takes d5. I sack the bishop on g5. He takes back. I go e6. He takes, and then I go rook to e1. Ooh, that would have been really nice to get. Unfortunately, my opponent doesn't fall for it, so we have to come up with a different strategy. What else? Queen g6 looks pretty good. If he comes back, we bring our rook into f7. So, okay, I'm tempted to do this. Queen g6. Ice King's Frost says 5-head. What does that mean? I'm not hip with the lingo, so I don't know. But yeah, right here we're just threatening to come into f7 if the rook moves off of this rank. If rook g7, I can snag this pawn on h6, which I'm pretty happy about. Okay, so now I can take on h6, picking up another pawn. I have queen h8 threats. If this rook moves off somewhere, I can take the g5 pawn. So he has to be very careful about that. But yeah, just not too many options for our friend here. So he takes the knight. We're just gonna play calmly, and Ice King Frost says it's an emote for big brain things, but you don't have it on. Okay, so I should try to figure out emotes. How does that work? I'm gonna have to figure that out. There's still so much I have to figure out on Twitch. I've been super lazy about all that stuff, whereas I definitely should not be. I should focus more attention on figuring that stuff out. So he goes rook here, and I can pick up another pawn, which I think I will. I'm okay with giving him the queen trade because I'm up 3 pawns. So yeah, we'll allow him to queen trade. We're up enough pawns to do so. Now, maybe I'll double the rooks, so rook to f2, bring the other rook to f1. If he tries to attack the bishop, I'll just go h4. So far, I've only done a couple things on Twitch, like in terms of after I became an affiliate. So one thing I did was I think I enabled like the basic emotes, but I could be wrong about that. I think I did that. And then what else? I enabled bits and cheers, and I set like a minimum bit and cheering amount. What else? Oh, I like set up a couple of those channel point things. So just stuff you guys can do with your channel points. Including the king run. That was like one custom one that I set up. Okay, so Ice King Frost saying that I need to turn on better Twitch TV emotes. BTTV. And I need to turn them on somehow. Okay. Noted. I will keep that in mind. I'll try to make that happen. So in the meantime, we have this position against DSC11, and we're just trying to break through in the center of the board. So if he takes our pawn, the idea is to go e6, and we're pushing the knight away from the d7 square so that we can play rook f8 with mate. Alright, so my opponent is conscious of this, brings the rook back. Now I think I'll just take this pawn on e6, establish the strong pawn, and I think e7. Now I'm threatening to come down, rook to f8. And I just want to promote. So we're up 3 pawns. It's looking pretty likely that we're going to win this. Mate Mateo says, hi. Hello, Mate Mateo. How are you doing? Good to have you. So knight to g6. Now I think I'm going to put my rook on f7. And the idea behind this is I want to go h5, force the knight away, and put the rook on f8. And now if he takes my pawn, I can take back. So he goes rook there. A good move for sure. And how do I want to react to this? So I can't defend it anymore, actually. So my opponent's playing this very well, I have to admit. Very interesting. What do I do about this? This doesn't work. If only I could swing my rook around somehow. But that's not possible. Just because he takes my pawn on e7. So I think I'm going to have to take a rook and pawn ending. That's the conclusion that I've come to. Just accept the rook and pawn ending. Is there like a best way to do that? I'm thinking h5. Do I go h5 with the idea takes, everything gets captured, and then I go rook to f5 and I try to use these 2 pawns to win, but I'm just afraid of his counterplay. I don't want to allow him to get counterplay here, but I feel like this might be the best way to go. I'm still gonna think though, is there some better way to try and win? Maybe I just keep the pressure, honestly. Just admit my mistake, bring the rook back, and keep trying to put pressure. So I allow him to take the e-pawn, and then I double up on the e-file. So rook here. And I try to prove an advantage. If he goes king to d8, I'm going to take this knight with my rook. Actually, no, not yet. I'm going to go rook e1, and then I'm going to take everything and go into a king and pawn ending, in which I'm up 2 pawns. Yeah, Ice King Frost saying, wait, can you pull the rook back and pin the knight? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna try to pin the knight. No, I no, I get it. I figured you said that before I did it. And yeah, that's a good idea. So Dr. Byrne coming in with the strong moves. And yeah, I'm pretty sure now I can transpose this into a king and pawn ending. Shout out to Semeiron who just followed the channel. Couldn't you have pushed the h pawn on move 28? Instead of rook f7, push the h pawn. So if I push the h pawn, I thought he could take this guy. And then if I tried to pin him, then he takes my bishop. But I'm sure pushing the h pawn is also winning there. Okay, so he goes here, and now I can just take everything. So take, everything takes, everybody takes, everyone's happy. And now g4. So we get a winning king and pawn ending. I'll just bring the king in, and these 2 pawns will be able to take care of the game. So king e3, we'll just make sure that there's no counterplay over here. Okay, let's bring the king. And this is the key, we're gonna push h5. So whenever he takes the pawn, he's too slow to catch the other one. So he's not able to catch this pawn, it just promotes. And we'll come over here, win his other pawns, and win the game. So take this, bring the queen to d4, make another queen. And the idea of putting the queen to d4 is to cut off the king, so the king can't catch this pawn either. And I'll just make sure that I'm not stalemating quickly before anything else. So, okay, if I queen, he still has one square to go, f7. So I'll queen. I'll give this check, queen f5, and we're just wrapping it up. Queen to d7 with mate. Good game. We're on a perfect score, and there are 33 minutes left in this arena. So let's see if we can continue to win every single game. That would be pretty cool if we could get a perfect score in this arena. We might start playing some really high-rated players. There's some big boys in this arena for sure. Like if we go to the beginning, yeah, there's some people that are about our rating, 2300s, but we joined the arena like 10 hours late, so I guess we're not gonna win, but we'll give it a try to win every single game. Okay, so we're playing 1764. Let's go d4. I'm feeling some d4. We've been playing e4 recently, but time to go back to the main repertoire. c4. And let's see what our opponent wants to play. Is it going to be a Nimzo, Budapest, Benoni, or Benko? d6. Okay, so maybe he wants to go for a... what is this called? Philidor? Something like that. It's like a Philidor. But okay, he's transposing to the King's Indian. And we'll also transpose to the King's Indian, e4. Castles, bishop to e2. Everything's looking pretty good. And I'm actually thinking, okay, so he goes bishop to g4. I don't think you're supposed to do it yet. Is there any way I can take advantage of this? I feel like bishop g4 right away is not the correct order. Can I bring the queen out? Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe there's no way to take advantage of it. So, okay, I'll just go bishop to e2. He goes knight d7. Bishop e3. And I know one idea here is knight g1 and take the bishop back with the knight. So I'll be on the lookout for this. But basically, one of the reasons that this bishop g4, one of the reasons that a lot of people don't play it is that in the King's Indian, you oftentimes need your light square bishop in case you need to sacrifice. So oftentimes, white gets this pawn structure with f3 and h3. The black pawn comes all the way down to f4, and you want to be able to use your bishop to sack for the h3 pawn. If you guys aren't King's Indian players, you might not know what I'm talking about, but that is a real thing, I promise you. So, okay, we get this normal position. I want to bring my knight back to d2. He can trade his bishop for my knight now if he wants. I may take back with the g-pawn, with the idea of just going for an all-out attack. So he castles. Now I want to go knight d2. I'll trade light square bishop for light square bishop, and if you notice the pawns, his pawns are on dark squares, meaning his light square bishop is good, and my pawns are on light squares, meaning my dark square bishop is good. It's always the opposite bishop. So okay, he's going a6, we'll just castle. We just traded our bad bishop for his good bishop. Super Max C says, hi bro, hello. Hello Super Max C, how are you? Okay, my opponent's playing for this c6 idea. This could prove his d-pawn to be weak though, so I'm considering just taking that c-pawn and just asking him some questions, how he wants to continue. He'll take back with the pawn, and then I'm gonna go rook to d1, put my rook on this file, because I want to put pressure on this d6 pawn. So for example, queen a5, maybe I go knight b3, attacking the queen, attacking the pawn. Supermax C says, you are great / good. Thank you. Appreciate it. So rook e8. Now, knight b3 might be on the table. Yeah, I'm thinking that's a pretty good move. So knight b3, attacking d6, and then maybe I go for c5. Okay, let's play this way. Knight b3 and c5. And we're trying to break up his pawns. Okay, he goes knight there, but now I think this move is even stronger. He has d5. Okay, so that's something to consider, that he has this d5. And then do I go bishop g5? Okay, it's not so clear cut. He has d4. So let's reevaluate. How will I put pressure on this? Do I go bishop c5? Is that an idea? And how does he defend this? I don't think he can. So actually maybe bishop c5 is the move here. And he has rook e6 as his only defensive try. And then maybe I just remaneuver the bishop, so bring it back to the a3 square. Okay, he goes rook e6. This is a good defensive move, and I'll double up. If he moves the queen, I'll happily move back. I have to, and it keeps pressure on the d6 pawn. So bishop a3. Okay, he goes knight e8. I'll continue to put pressure on d6. Bring both of my rooks over here. And drop the bishop back to a3. That's the idea. So queen c7, yeah, I'm going to come back to a3. And how can I put more pressure on d6? That's what I want to try to figure out. Oh, actually, maybe I should have gone bishop b4. Because bishop b4, I'm still threatening to go bishop a5. Now, can I go c5? I think so. Because I have these two rooks down this d file. And if he goes d5, I have enough pieces to capture. And he cannot take because that pawn is pinned. So he goes d5, I will capture it. And I'll take back with my knight, because my knight is a beast on the d5 square. Welcome to anyone who's just joining. We're just playing the Lichess Anniversary Arena. And we're on a perfect score so far. If you want to support the channel, I enabled bits and cheers. Although, just given my knowledge of Twitch, I probably didn't actually enable any of that. But yeah. And then also subscribe if you want. Yeah, now my knight is on a really good square, and I'm actually threatening knight to e7, picking up the rook on d8. So, not sure what my opponent wants to do about that. There is nothing he can do since I'm attacking the queen with tempo. So the queen must move somewhere, and then I go knight e7 and take the rook on d8. Another thing I'm considering is maybe my knight here is better than his rook. So maybe I just want to leave things as they are. That's another thing to consider. But, you know, his rook is pretty good. Maybe I should just play things simple. Knight e7, take the rook on d8, and win the exchange. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Just do this. Now I have c6 ideas because the bishop attacks. So he has to do something about c6. And it's up to him what that is. Maybe c6 isn't that much of a threat, actually, because this rook does defend this knight if the queen chooses to move away. Okay, so what are my other ideas? I can move this knight, reposition this this b3 knight, so coming like this. Shoe Factory says, nice man, 22 viewers, going exponential. Yeah, happy about that. Usually the average viewers on the stream are much lower than that, so definitely very happy to have all of you 22 people watching. Thank you. So he goes queen to c7. He's stopping my knight to a5 idea. And I can't do it this way because if I put my knight on d2, my rook on d8 hangs. So, okay, maybe I reposition this queen to a better square. The thing is, my opponent's pieces are so tangled. Like, he's very tangled up here. Neither of his knights can move. His bishop isn't very good. So, yeah, just a pretty tough position for him to play. He might try... Okay, so he goes bishop f6. He's trying to take my rook off of this rank. But maybe I can try to be stubborn about it and play rook to a8. Just say I want to stay on this 8th rank. Keep putting pressure here. If he goes queen to b7, trying to trap my rook, I can go queen d5 against that. So my rook's not actually getting trapped. And maybe I want to go king f1 at some point if the queens come off the board so that I'm not getting back ranked and I can bring my king into the game. So definitely happy about this position. c6 might still be on the table at some point, but right now I think it's not winning. So he goes queen to c6. Now I want to play my queen d5 move. Offering to trade queens, defending the rook on a8. And yeah, he's basically still very tangled. Now another idea I have is knight d2, knight e4. So I may try to go for that if he doesn't trade queens. Also, if he doesn't trade queens, I may have c6. So queen b5. I think there's c6 with the idea that if he takes my queen, I take his queen back. Okay, he goes queen b5. Now c6. And the idea is I'm offering another queen trade, but if he takes my pawn, then his knight on e8 hangs because the rook no longer defends it. So that's the idea. And if he doesn't do anything, I'm threatening to go like c7. And if he takes my pawn with his knight, I take the knight on f8 since the bishop also hits. So very, very good position here. Queen to e2, okay. Now do I just march forward with pawn to c7? That's definitely looking good. And I don't think he has any like concrete threats. So let's just keep this party going with c7. Taking advantage of the fact that knight takes allows rook takes f8. Ice King Frost saying he had a fork just now when trading queens, right? Okay, let me take a look at that. I'm not sure. This, though, I can take. Let me see. So, queen d5, and you're suggesting takes, and fork with knight to c7. Yeah, it appears that you're right about that. Okay, we got a resignation. So Ice King Frost, nice tactical vision that my opponent could have taken the queen and played this knight c7 fork. I still do think I would have been winning there. Yeah, I think Shoe Factory, you and Ice King Frost are talking about two different positions. The first queen trade opportunity, like, he could do the knight c7, but the second queen trade opportunity, once I'd already played c6, he can no longer do it because I take the knight on f8. So yeah, the first time I offered the queen trade, he could have done it, but the second time he couldn't. Okay, cool. About 20 minutes left in this arena. Yeah, 20 minutes left. Let's see if we can get another win in there. We're playing Flores Immortal, and we have the black pieces. So he plays e4. Let's play the Sicilian. The Sicilian, also known as the Caro-Kann mouse slip variation. Because you want to push the pawn to c6, but you accidentally push it too far. All right, we have c3. Now, I'll play knight to f6. Knight to d5. Okay, so d4. I think the correct way to play this is with d6. Actually, maybe it's e6. I think I'm mixing up the moves, but I'm not a Sicilian player, so That could be a big reason why. All right, I'll take with the queen. And yeah, my Sicilian knowledge is a bit old, I have to admit. I've been playing the Caro-Kann for a while. I also played the Sicilian, so my knowledge shouldn't be too lacking, but all right, he goes bishop to b5, and now I wonder if I can play this queen b4. Knight c3, takes, lots of taking. But at the end, I get the bishop pair and a pawn, so who am I to complain? I'll go for queen b4. And he has to go knight to c3. This is his only move. And then he has to take this. So he goes knight c3. I'll take the knight. And yeah, just getting a pawn right out of the opening. So I can't complain about that. He'll probably take my knight, after which I'll take back. And then bishop to d2. Okay, so now I have a couple options. I can retreat the queen this way. My opponent keeps offering a draw for some reason. I do not want to draw Flores Immortal. I want to win. So I'm going to go queen here, and this stops him from castling. And also preparing bishop a6, queen check. So we have a nice position. Oh, looks like the music stopped. Let me get that going again. Okay. Yeah, if he goes queen to e2, all right, he plays knight e5, but knight e5, I thought I could take this. Can I not? And the idea is if he takes my pawn on c6, I go queen e4 check, and I pick up the knight on this fork. So nice little tactic there. All right, we pick up the knight. Our opponent can castle now, but he doesn't. He doesn't castle. Bold. Very bold. Now I might stop him from castling again if he's not careful. So he better watch himself. Better get castled while he has the chance. So he goes queen to c2, but now I feel like I want to stop him from castling. So I'm going to go bishop a6. And yeah, pretty good position. Next idea might be getting this bishop out, but we are just up a piece, and we're happy about it. Okay, so bishop d3 might also be on the table. There's also this move right here. Rook c8. Rook c8 is pretty tempting, just trading down a bit more. Alright, let's do it. If he takes, we can take back with the bishop. So it's not possible. If he moves his queen, I guess we just trade rooks and claim that he can't castle, so we're happy. But yeah, this should be a relatively simple conversion. Queen b2. Ooh, now we have a oh, no, we don't have a tactic yet. Okay. I got too excited there for a second, but let's just play this patiently. And now e6, I think, is correct. Just bringing the bishop out, castling, and our opponent still cannot castle. I think I actually had queen d3 there, too, because there's no queen c8. Oh, but there is queen c6. So got to be a little bit careful with this sort of queen d3 stuff. I actually have queen b5 too. Here I'll go bishop b4 check, see a check, play a check. And if he goes bishop back to d2, I wonder if I can go queen to b5, because I don't think he has any checks. This check is blocked by the bishop on a6. This check is blocked by the queen, and I'm threatening queen to e2 mate. So our opponent has to go queen d1, I think, which he does, and now I just castle, and his king is caught in the middle of the board. Can't do anything. Alright, he takes, I'll take back with the queen, and he really wants to trade queens with me, but I'm afraid I'll have to decline. I don't want to trade queens with you. I want to mate you. Hopefully you understand. Alright, king d2, we'll go rook to d8. And basically the only thing left to be careful about is back rank stuff. So just not allowing our opponent to take our rook and give us a back rank mate. Not mouse slipping like that. So he goes king c1. Now, I think I should just take his queen. I don't think there's any faster way to do this. So I'm going to take the queen and make sure that there's no back rank by playing g5. Ice King Frost saying that was nice. Yeah, it was a nice game. I'm happy about it. Alright, now I'll give this little check. Threaten to pick up the a2 pawn. And we get a resignation. So it looks like we're going to get one more game before the time expires in this arena. And we have made a huge climb from, like 5,200th place to 372nd place. So we can't complain. And we're actually approaching this part of the tournament where we're in the same place as a lot of 2200s. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us get paired against a like 21 or 2200. And no matter what, we're going to get a good game. So let's see who we get paired against. Yeah, lots of 2100s around this area, some 1900s. We get paired against FM Schemato 2429. So we're playing against a very strong player here. Alright. Good luck to FM Schemato and FM on NM Battle. Let's see how this turns out. So I want to go f5. Just play my normal English stuff. He goes d4. Fair enough. I'll bring my bishop out. And I'm okay with this queen trade if he chooses to take, and I take back with the bishop. So, okay, he goes bishop g2. I'll develop my knight. And I'm okay with any sort of queen exchange. So he goes bishop to g5. Now I'm thinking about pawn to c6. Just stopping any knight d5 stuff. If I castle... Does he have knight d5 stuff? I also think I'm relatively safe from that if I castle, so I'm just going to castle. He goes e3, okay. Now I'm thinking c6, stop anything from coming to d5. And I actually had a very similar position to this over the board at a state level tournament. So I know generally the ideas. I think queen c7 is an idea in this position. Just getting the queen off of this file, although I am okay with the queen trade. What else? If bishop e6, I'm a bit wary of d5, so I don't necessarily want to allow that. I think king h8 is pretty typical in these positions, just in case white ever gets queen b3 and starts putting pressure on this diagonal. So king h8 is a pretty good move to just have in. And now if bishop e6, d5, we can retreat our bishop. So this is another way to play this. So bishop e6. Is this how I want to do it? d5. I come back to g8. He takes. I can take back with the pawn. I'm happy with that position if I can get it. Maybe I should wait a little bit. Queen c7 or queen to e8. I like queen e8 actually. Threatening to come over to h5. Yeah, so queen h5 is a threat. My opponent seems to be more than happy to give this bishop at any time, at which point I will probably take back with my bishop. Okay, so b4, he's really going for it over here. So a5 just furthers his agenda as he goes b5. a6, also not much of a point in doing because he does this stuff anyways. So let me just leave all of that how it is. And maybe I'll just go queen out to h5 and start playing on this side of the board. That seems like the most logical way to do this. Maybe I can also play for bishop to e6. Bishop to g8. Is that good? Is that any good? So, okay, if I go bishop e6... Not sure, actually. Can I allow him to do b5, is the question. So queen h5, bishop takes knight, rook takes knight, b5, I swing over. h4, I can try g5, just start pushing over here. So, okay, I don't mind that really. I know it's a lot of arrows, but let's go for it. Queen to h5. And we're going to try and start up an initiative on the king side. And importantly, if we take with the rook here, which I want to do, if he takes and takes, there's no back rank mate because our bishop protects for now. One of the problems with these positions is that all of white's pieces are out, except our pieces on the queen side aren't really playing in the game. So that's something that we have to be very wary of, that our pieces are not involved yet, and we need to try and get them involved somehow. So one way of involving our pieces is this f4 pawn sacrifice, with bishop to h3 coming. It's fairly typical in these sorts of positions, and we're trading an important defensive piece of our opponents, but we have to time it right. So after rook to h6, I'm going to be looking to play f4, bishop h3. An example line is b5, rook h6, h3, f4, g4, bishop takes g4, h takes g4, and queen at h2 mate. So he has to be careful of this idea, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But he does have his own counterplay, which I have to be careful of. If my opponent plays for f4 himself, I'm probably just gonna lock it down with e4, shutting down his bishop's diagonal. So f4, e4. I know that this is typical in the position, to react to your opponent's f4 with e4, and it's surprisingly tough to do something with this bishop. So okay, let's see what our opponent wants to do. He is a little bit up on the clock, so he has the right to think. And I'm thinking this will probably be the last game in this arena. So my opponent goes knight to c1. He wants a queen trade. And I'm not sure if I'm opposed to the queen trade. I think it may actually be good for me, trading the queens off, since I do have the bishop pair. So I'm thinking takes, rook takes, and then I go back rook f8. And I try to prove something with the two bishops. That may be a good way to go. What else do I have? So if I decline the queen trade, I'm playing queen f7, hitting this pawn, though there's queen b3, which is a pretty simple fix. And I'm not sure if I gain anything from keeping the queens on the board. So I'm just going to do this exchange, rook takes. Now my opponent's next idea is pawn to b5. My rook is slightly misplaced here, I think. So I should probably do something about that. And I do want to watch out for this b5 move. I think I might have to play e4 at some point, just to block him from making this bishop too powerful. If I do it here, he goes f3. I take. Yeah, that position's not so bad. Let's just drop the rook back and try to activate our pieces, because if these pieces don't play, we're just going to be losing. So let's try to make these pieces play. Let's bring them into the game. So rook f8. I want to bring this knight in. Knight d7, knight b6. He goes c5, which is actually a good move. I don't know why I said actually. It is a good move. Okay, now takes. And I think that exchange might be favorable for me. Okay, let's take this pawn. I'm not sure about c5, because if he allows all this stuff, then, okay, if he takes with this pawn, I jump onto this diagonal, which he does. So let me take this opportunity to put my bishop on this strong diagonal. Bishop f6. Okay, he goes knight e2. And my two bishops are starting to look better. Like this bishop has a great diagonal. I can try to liberate this bishop somehow. I wonder if I can play f4 here. Takes. Bishop g4. Rook to c1. Okay, it feels unnecessary. I don't have to sack a pawn like this. I can also go knight d7, knight e5. This is one idea. So, okay, I sort of like that. Knight d7, knight e5. It feels positionally very solid. Huh. Bishop e6. He goes here, then knight d7. But he gets rook d6 in those lines. So, okay, let's just bring our knight to d7 right away. I'm expecting rook to c1. After which, maybe I go a5. Is that a possibility? b5, and then I just take on c5. Takes. That might be possible. Okay, let's go a5. I just want to trade down. And if we can get rid of some of these queenside pawns... Okay, he does go b5. Now, I was thinking I could do this. And I'm hoping that this is sound. I don't see why not at the moment. So I take this. And what's his idea? He takes, I'll take back. He takes this pawn with his bishop. And do I go rook here? Knight to b5. Knight e4 maybe. I am definitely playing with fire a bit there. Maybe I should just go bishop to b7, offer the trade. Takes. And he does have some nice open files for his rooks. But I don't think I'm really in any trouble there. I think I'm still doing well there. So, okay. Is it worth giving up the bishop pair too? That's another consideration. That playing bishop b7, we're not holding on to the bishop pair anymore. But it may be the best call. So rook to b8, knight b5. And does he have an advantage there is what I need to know. Maybe the knight comes back to e6. Knight d6. Bishop out to a6. I don't think he has an advantage there, so maybe I should try to hold on to my bishop pair. Oh wait, rook b8, there's knight to d5 too, hitting this bishop and this knight at the same time. So, in light of that, I might just be okay with this trade. So bishop b7 takes. Jack Urakawa saying, couldn't I do rook to a6? So rook a6. Okay, I'll look at... I think you're right. Yeah, rook a6 was actually possible. Rook a6 would have been best, actually, now that I think about it. There might have been bishop to b5, though. Okay, he goes there. And let's watch our clock. I don't want to get too low on the clock. Knight d5. I know bishop d8 dominates the knight, but it's also a passive square for the bishop. So not sure if I want to do it. Okay, for now, we're getting low on the clock, so let's go bishop d8. The idea is the knight can't go to any of these squares because the bishop is 2 squares away from it, which means it's dominating. So knight f4, he wants to come in here. Fair enough. I'll bring the rook to the e file because it appears to be best there. And it stops this knight e6. Next idea is probably knight d6, knight e4. Barring any significant alteration in the position that my opponent makes. So h4, let's put the knight on d6. Try to bring it to e4 or b5, something like this. But yeah, my opponent's stopping this any g5 stuff, whether it be pawn g5 or bishop g5. But I do need to speed up. Okay, knight c7, I'm forced to take, I believe. He takes back, okay. Now, is it knight e4? Is that the move? Or is it just rook d8? Probably not rook d8. Okay, shoot. Let's attack the rook. Knight b8, knight b5. I am getting more concerned about him doubling up his rooks. So I'm going to do everything I can to stop that. For example, a rook here, I can go rook b8. So I'm going to try to stop him from doubling up. Rook f7 is a move. Rook f7 is a move. Rook f8, maybe. Okay, he goes rook to c5, which is also good. He's forking these 2 pieces. Respectable. Okay, let's go rook here. If he takes here, I might have rook, or I might have knight c3. But he comes down. Yeah, he's got quite an initiative here. Ooh, Yeah, my opponent playing very well. I should be careful. Let's play a4. I'm just worried about this. Like if he can come down and wreak havoc. Maybe I can try h6 or g6. But that does come with the disadvantage of making my h-pawn more vulnerable. And we have a minute 23 to our opponent's 5 minutes. So not doing so well on the clock. But we're going to try and speed up. Maybe get the pawn to a3, play rook b2. Let's see what our opponent does. Maybe he goes rook a5. And what do I do? Swing the rook around. This is possible. Okay. Rook a5 looks good. Rook f7. Let's calculate a3. Rook d7. Rook g8. Knight e6. Okay, he goes rook f7. That's one of the moves I was concerned about. Now, do I feel like I need to stop him from just destroying my king side. So maybe rook to d8 is definitely one thing I'm considering. I am getting a little lower on the clock, so I should speed up a bit. Okay, let's go rook d8. The idea is if takes takes knight e6. What is the idea on takes knight e6? It seems that there's no idea. Maybe I go... yeah. So takes knight e6. Okay, rook c2. Now I should probably step this guy in the way. Or move the knight. Maybe I move the knight. Whatever I do has to be done a little bit faster than I'm currently going. Knight e6 is possible. Okay, this might end up being a bit of a close one. I want to go a3, rook b2. That's the next idea. So knight e6, let's go a3. And I want to put my rook on b2. He can take on g7. That pawn's his. But I just want to put my rook on b2. And try to get a promotion. Oh, but if rook b2, he takes my knight on c3. Yeah, sorry if I'm not showing all the arrows right now. It's because I'm really low on the clock. Okay, so he goes here. Now, I actually can't. I can't go rook b. I couldn't have gone rook b2 because he'd sacked the rook and then back rank mate me. So now I offer him a chance to go for this. Rook a5 is in the position. Okay, rook a5. Let's shift the rook over. Let's go h6 or king g8. Something like this just to get out of dodge. Or so that there's no back rank mate. Okay, h6. Let's go king h7. Just bring the king out. No back rank mates. Knight to f4. Okay. Let's just go here. He's probably trying to put his knight on g6. Yeah, I think he wants to put his knight on g6, after which I have to go rook back to b8 just to stop any back rank mates. Okay, so he goes there first. And he wants the back rank mate. Is there anything I can do about it? I don't know, actually. Okay, well, I'm down to 10 seconds anyways. My opponent played really well, though. Total credit to him. Played a very good game. I am losing this one. And the time has just run out on the clock. But my policy is to always end on a win, so I'm not sure I can accept this this loss as the last game, even though the tournament clock has expired. Okay, yeah, only 3 seconds left. Alright. We'll let the time run out, but it is all but over. Good game, though, by my opponent. We'll try to make something happen. knight b7, maybe knight c5. And take on a6, but yeah, this is just over. Oh, he didn't defend that pawn, I guess. Yeah, okay. Let's pre-move this. It could be a risky pre-move since he has a6, but you know, it's we have no time anyways. Okay, we'll just keep pre-moving this stuff and see if he stalemates us. But yeah, I mean, it's over. All right. I mean, we could resign, but you know, maybe there's a stalemate. I don't know. Okay. Well, good game to my opponent. He played really well. Okay, so we won almost all of our games, every one but the last one, which I guess didn't count towards the tournament. Alright, since I need to end on a win, I'm going to play a blitz game. Yeah, because I'm a sociopath and I need to win, end the stream on a win. Yeah, Jack Crossing, that was tough. It was tough. Yeah, Ice King Frost. It was a bit of a tough one. Dr. Byrne, play me. I will play you. Send me a challenge. No better way to end the stream than to play the infamous Dr. Byrne. Go ahead and challenge me. I'll accept it. We could do like 5+0 casual if you want. It's up to you. I'll leave it in your hands. And then after this game, we will call it. But yeah, that was pretty fun though. Lichess 10th birthday arena. That was a good one. Okay, Dr. Byrne sends the challenge. And he makes it a rated challenge. He's trying to steal my rating points. How dare you, Dr. Byrne? I don't appreciate this. So f4. Yeah, I remember we've had a game like this. Dr. Byrne and I. Knight c3, okay. So how should I play against this? This is an interesting way to play. I remember commenting that I wasn't so sure about this f4. But we'll we'll let him show us what preparation he's done between our last game and this one. Alright, I'm waiting for Dr. Byrne to unleash 25 moves of prep in this f4 variation. We'll see. So we're gonna play it like a normal knight c3 variation, the Tartakower defense. Except instead of d4, the white pawn is on f4. I'm curious to see how this impacts the position. Yeah, but our ideas are still the same, you know, the normal Caro-Kann stuff. Okay, knight to g3. And I should probably get this bishop outside of the pawn chain. So I'll play bishop to g4. Knight to f3, okay. Let's play e6. Alright, h3, we'll take that. And we'll put our bishop on c5 so as to prevent Dr. Byrne from castling. And since this is the last game of the stream, final call for anybody who is interested in subscribing, cheering, bitting, I don't know what all the terminologies are. But yeah, last call for that, because the stream is going to end after this. Alright, I just want a castle, and ask Dr. Byrne where his king is going. relatively normal position. I've given up the bishop pair. So that's one thing. c3, so Dr. Byrne insisting on d4. And because he's insisting so much, I might have to just allow it. Since he's so insistent on it, I'm going to Jack Urakawa says, I would, but I have no idea what bidding or cheering is on here. Yeah, bidding is definitely not the right term, but I think Twitch has these like things called bits, and they're each worth, like each bit is worth 1 cent or something like that, or around there, 1 cent USD. But I'm definitely not the expert on these Twitch matters, so don't ask me. I think it's just like stuff you buy on Twitch to support streamers. And yeah, they're worth about 1 cent USD. Okay, so Dr. Byrne playing f5. Very strong move. Although it does blunt his bishop a bit. So this bishop on d3 is no longer as good as it was. Alright, he goes knight to h5. And trying to put together a very strong attack. I'm wondering though, is it gonna work? So can I do this? Or is Dr. Byrne just mating me? Let's find out. So he takes, I'll take back with my knight. And I'm curious as to how he's going to react to this. He takes, I'll take back. And now he's got to be very careful because this file is dangerous. The uncastled king. You got to be careful when your king's still in the center. Although he's still doing all right here. I mean, it is a piece up for me at the moment, but I think he has a pawn for it, and still some attacking potential. So let's see how Dr. Byrne goes about this. Yeah, we just want to consolidate now and go for a win. Maybe if someone in the chat is educated on what bits and cheering entail, then they can educate us all. I know someone explained it to me last time. Yeah, someone did explain it to me last time, how bits are like little currency, Twitch currency. Alright, so now let's go bishop to c7, bring our bishop to this better diagonal. Yeah. And maybe we want to go rook to e8 check. Bishop f4. I thought I had knight to h5 here. Maybe I don't. Okay, let's go knight to h5. I'm pretty sure this works here. Bishop takes c7. Yep, I originally thought I had queen e8 check and then picking up the queen, but there's queen e5 on queen e8. So I'm just going to have to take this queen. He'll take my queen. Oh, he doesn't take. He takes the knight. Okay, well, yeah, should have taken the queen there, but it would have been a piece up anyways. No worries, Ice King Frost, you played really well. Always fun to play, you guys, and I'm seeing some improvements from game to game. So definitely some improvements since last time. It was really great to have all of you. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to try to stream again soon, so make sure to tune in for that. Yeah, Jack Urakawa, Ice King Frost is Dr. Byrne. So, yeah, good game, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It was fun to play this arena, and I'll see you guys next time. But bye for now.